Hey, devotioners, how are you? I just want to quickly swing by to leave you with a word of encouragement, something to think about, something to reflect on, and just check in for our devotion. I have been absorbed with this thought, and God remove the scale from my eyes and gave me a deeper understanding of what the fear of God is. And I want to talk about that, the fear of the Lord. Today, I was in the book of Proverbs, chapter 9, verse 10, where it states that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And many of us know this already, that fear is not talking about being afraid, curling up in a ball, and being fretful of God. It means to have a posture of reverence for God. And to even go deeper, it it really was talking about having the cognition that God is the one who fear would make us recognize that it's God who governs our thought, our speech, and our action. The fear of God should bring us to that place that He's the one who is supreme and He's the one who has control over everything. So the fear of God should posture us. You understand? The fear of God should bring us to this place that it's He who is supreme. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And so when we get that understanding that He is the ruler of everything and He's the ruler of us, it will then catapult us into wisdom. It walks hand in hand. The fear of God and wisdom walks hand in hand. I said, God, tell me more. And so He drove me back to Solomon. And when Solomon had to deal with a critical issue after he was crowned king, he had two mothers before him. One saying, well, the dead baby is hers and the one that is now alive is mine. And there was a back and forth. They both delivered babies at the same time. They lived in the same quarters. One of the babies died. We could exhaust that and probably think about why the baby died after birth, after going home. There's lots of research about what possibly could have gone wrong when the baby went home. But the two of them were before Solomon that day, and they were both saying, that baby, that the one that is alive is mine. They both were claiming the baby. And Solomon did something that was so profound. First, Solomon said, all right, I am going to split the baby in half. I'm going to make a judgment. I'm going to make a determination, wisdom, that the fear of God, he sought the Lord, and the fear of God gave him that instruction as to what to do in that critical, life-altering moment. And he said, give me a sword. this baby in half. And the mother, the heart of a mother, cried out and said, don't cut the baby. Give it to her. And the other woman said, no, cut the baby in half. Ooh. Ooh. And based on their reaction, Solomon, by divine wisdom, by divine intervention, was able to determine who the child belonged to, who the baby belonged to. He was able to restore back to the mother, rightly restored back to the mother, her baby, because he understood who was supreme and where wisdom came from. It came from him having a fear of God, the understanding, the awareness of the sovereign God. I said, whew. And that baby was returned back to his rightful mother. And today, I said, God, tell me more. And today, there is a lack of the fear of God among us, because if the fear of God was tabernacling with us, we would judge matters fairly. We would not pick sides. It wouldn't be based on who we prefer. We would seek the sovereign one, and we would be able to rightly discern the truth from a lie. But because we don't have the fear of God, because we think the fear of God is only how we dress, but because we don't have the fear of God, there are things happening that cannot be rightly judged, because we would begin to insert our humanness and not godliness. And I began to say, Lord, restore back the fear of God inside of me, that I will be able to seek truth over what is popular, that I will stand in righteousness in spite of what anybody else thinks or feel about me. But then I would stand for what is right, because righteousness is doing what is right, regardless of what anybody has to say. Lord, bring back the fear of God in me, that I will be able to always discern beyond what is seen on the surface, that I will be able to see in the realm of the spirit, that the fear of God will transport me beyond the first and second and third heaven, and begin to see it like how God sees it, and then I can walk in it on earth. I would walk in wisdom on earth, because I would be in the fear of God, and I would do it the way that God would want it done. And I said, God, restore back the fear of God inside of me. And I began to say to God, can't just walk around and just act like it's all hunky-dory and it's all peaches and cream. No, God said, no, it's time. It's time to get deeper into the things that I am concerned about. And there's so many layers to this. But just to give you a little sliver. And you may say, where should I begin? I say, begin to acknowledge, because that's what the fear of God is the acknowledgement that He is supreme, that He is sovereign. That's when you will begin to fear Him and begin to understand, I cannot lean to my own understanding, but in all my ways. The fear of God says, in all my ways, I got to acknowledge Him. God, what must I do? The fear of God says, I cannot judge by my human understanding. I cannot say, I cannot do, I cannot live, I cannot be, I cannot exist with just logic. But I have to be able to hear what God has to say about the matter. What does God have to say about the matter? That's the fear of God. And I'm seeing anti that. And people are suffering. And so, Lord, bring back the fear of God. When I looked in the early church, and I'm done, and I look in the early church, and with Ananias and Sapphira, I don't have my Bible in this bag. But I've read it for you. When Ananias and Sapphira, when Peter was able to discern by the word of knowledge what had taken place, and then the word of wisdom came. Look at this, the word of wisdom came, and Peter brought them in separately. That was wisdom. That was wisdom. The gift of the Spirit were in operation. That was wisdom on display, right? Knowledge said they did something wrong. Wisdom said, hey, I'm going to bring them in separately, pre-adventure, that they would confess, right, what they have done, and perhaps God would have pardoned them. But they didn't. And the Bible said that they both fell dead. And then the Bible went on to say, great fear fell upon the people. The reverential fear of God fell upon them. They recognized God was not to be toyed with. God was not to be played with. And too many of us are playing church. Too many of us are caught up. God wants the fear of God. He wants the fear back into the church. It was established when the church was established. Fear came upon the people. They recognized, we can't play with God. God is not to be messed with. That's it. That's the trajectory that God is bringing me to. When he talks about the fear of God, I see it differently. And the scales have been removed, the veil has been lifted. And I just want to give you again a little sliver of this and ask the Lord in your prayer time, Lord, restore the fear of God back inside of me. And if it wasn't there before, God, put it inside of me. And every day of my life, God, help me to acknowledge you. Help me to seek you. Help me to walk in it. We'll talk soon. I gotta run. God bless you. God keep you. And God cause his great face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you, grant you peace, the peace that passes all understanding. We'll talk soon.